says Anthony Fauci. But wait a second. Why is this just now occurring to Tony Fauci? Isn't this Fauci's entire job to, quote, look at the data? In April, many months ago, a study by the Journal of the American Medical Association found that school-age children who get the coronavirus, quote, develop only mild symptoms and typically recover within 2 weeks. Other studies found the exact same thing. No studies found anything but that. There was never much question about it.
Would you let your kids go back to school?
I will. My kids are looking forward to it.
Yes. Period. Absolutely.
Absolutely. As much as I can.
Without a hesitation.
Without a hesitation, yes.
I have no concerns about sending my child to school in the fall.
I would let my kids go back to school.
Dr. John Torres, NBC News.
They all said yes.
They all said yes, says the newsreader, feigning shock. Can you believe that? Doctors have concluded their own children should go to school. They must be crazy. They're crazy. What do the doctors know about coronavirus? What was this about? And of course, you know the answer. It was about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, in this case, agreed with the doctors. Therefore, the doctors had to be mocked and ignored. Here's what the president said about schools in July.
We have to open our schools. Open our schools. Stop this nonsense. We open our schools.
Stop this nonsense, we reopen our schools. Now, in point of fact, as a scientific matter, that turned out to be sound policy based on sound data. But the media told us the exact opposite of that. One headline at CNN warned of, quote, the very clear dangers of Donald Trump's push to reopen schools. Google didn't censor that as misinformation. It should have. Another headline called out, quote, Donald Trump's mind-bending logic on school reopening. Mind-bending logic. Those damn data again.
Welcome to The Edge, and I want to thank you all for those of you who've watched before and are among the close to 90,000 people who are viewing this show. And hopefully you're subscribing as well. We're gaining in subscriptions. If you like what you see or don't like it, either way, we do want your comment. We want your thoughts and your considerations. I'm watching a replay of the Maria Bartiromo interview with Donald Trump on, I think he's on FaceTime or Zoom on Fox. Maria Bartiromo did this either Saturday or Sunday this last weekend. In any event, he goes on to say how he was robbed at 10 o'clock at night. The vote was one number, and next thing you know, the vote was in another. And but she essentially is saying that if this is all true, the military people are fighting the wars for nothing. They're fighting it for the president, for the election. Of course they're fighting for an election, a just election. The Constitution provides no electoral college. It was created despite the Constitution. It was all about distances of travel and things at the time, and the 3/5 of a vote, which is in the Constitution. A lot of people don't know that about the Electoral College. Sounds like a bright place, created in 1790. That's like you get a degree from the Electoral College, no, you get votes. And the electors are decided within each state. So the total number of electors, I think, is, it's 270, 540 is the total number. They could tie at 270, the president and whoever's running against him. The ball game is played that way because of what we did back in 1790. And the popular vote is disregarded. Mr. Trump lost the popular vote, even though he got 10 million more votes in this election than he did against Hillary. 10 million more, from 63 to 73, I think it was. He says 74. But Biden got 80. And the chief reason that happened was because of mail-in ballots and the virus. People wanted to vote, and so many of the voting places were shut down so badly, limited to too few places, that people were standing in blocks of lines around buildings, around blocks, up streets and everything else to get their vote in, because the more conservative states Georgia, Texas, places like that, blocked the vote. And so people then gave up and did mail-in voting. And they were determined to vote. So much so that Biden won by at least 7 or 8 million votes ahead of that. Trump can't believe that the vote had gone up that much. Perhaps he didn't realize that there was a strong division in this country that he encouraged. People should hate one another. You don't trust that person. No, when you put him in the police car, you jam his head, you're not nice about it. You're just not. And if you're Hispanic, well, they're slimy, dirty people, and they deserve a roll of paper. I'll toss them a roll of paper when they get drowned by the hurricane. I'll meet them in their own place and throw rolls of paper at them. I'll treat them like the dirt they are, less than human. Oh, I don't do that really, do I? Of course I do. I also put them in cages. They're children, and I separate the children from their families. What a smart thing I do. That's me. That's your president. That's your sitting president, Donald Trump. That's what I do. And that's what people were voting about. So 10 o'clock rolls around. He's complaining to Maria Bartiromo how he's cheated. He didn't realize the hatred he'd created and division in this country. And the numbers were mail-in for the people who couldn't get to the polls and found mail-in ballots quicker and easier. And by the way, a mail-in ballot is countable like an exit poll. When you leave a polling station after you voted, a lot of people do exit polling and they ask the people how you voted, Democrat or Republican or whatever. And they'll tell you very often. They're often, some people are unwilling to, but a lot of people are more than willing to. And the mail-in ballot is accountable for, more easy than any other, or as easy as any other. So here you have this debate. She's got this plum of an interview. It's caused a bit of a ruckus because he's justifying his loss, or trying to justify his loss, that the whole system is rigged. And then you have all of these states throwing everything out. But let's come back to this. Let's watch a little more of this interview.